Your cartoons, while they're often described as whimsical, they're, to my reading, often extremely political and clearly, obviously so. There's a lot for you to get het up about these days, and it seems to me a number of your cartoons, they've never lost that political edge, but that edge is perhaps even a bit sharper these days.
I'm interested to hear you say that. I feel more withdrawn from the whole, you know, the intensity and the narrow focus of politics doesn't interest me so much. And as I've grown older, it's what underlies it and what are the human nature aspects of the whole thing. And I guess that's what the poets and the musicians and the cartoonists have always dabbled in, what's going on underneath all this. But yeah, it's so crowded and intense now, the whole political world, and the world of commentary has flourished and it's become a crowded sort of spot to work in. So I pull further back from it, I think.
Well, there was one very recently, an issue where you didn't pull back from, it became quite controversial, which is your cartoon, which I think we can probably bring up now, which is your cartoon that seemed to be in support of the anti-vaccination movement. And if we can bring that one up there, some mothers do have them. They have maternal instincts that contradict what science thinks. They stand up to the state. A mother's love may be as great as any new vaccine that man has ever seen. That drew a lot of criticism to you, and it does seem to be an odd thing to assert, Michael Leunig, that a mother's love might be more beneficial for a child than a vaccine.
Well, I think it's a very significant moment when you ask the maternal instinct to absolutely step aside and accept what the state or what the conventional wisdom is saying. I mean, I'm not taking a position here publicly. I'm just defending the possibility.
It looks as if you are. It certainly does look as if you are.
No, the position I'm taking, Virginia, is do we just sweep aside those mothers who, in great conscience and real intense and intelligence and research, feel that they just can't go ahead with this? Should we demonise them? Should we criminalise them? Should the whole society make them feel a pariah? You know, I'm concerned about that, and that's the traditional work of the cartoonist, to stand up for the improbable, the minority, which seems to be of true heart and sincerity.
Isn't it an issue about science?
Well, science, well, it depends on whether you believe that science is the final say on everything.
Most people do.
Well, they did when they had thalidomide. Science said this is okay, etc. Science, the history of science...
That's a difficult comparison, because there was a concerted cover-up about thalidomide for many, many years, and such corporate malfeasance that it's probably unparalleled in medical history. So you're not asserting something similar to that, are you?
There is a science against vaccination also.
No, there are some pretty unfounded arguments against vaccinations.
There's a lot of evidence. I'm not upholding it, but I'm saying beware of the crowd and of science, even science. Is the science complete yet? Do we know utterly? And what is this impulse, which is universal, it's not freakish, but I've seen a lot of very intelligent women and parents hold up a really grave concern, and there are bad consequences of some vaccinations. That is also on record.
The strong anti-vaccination argument, of course, is founded on a totally discredited and unfounded medical...
Not totally, no.
Yeah, completely. It's been expunged from the medical record, but we probably better not waste too much time on this, because clearly you have a strong view that we're never going to agree with.
I think there's a science to be looked at. I think the science is incomplete. I honestly do.
But as someone who sort of, has been much loved as a cartoonist, can I just show you one response to your cartoon? Can you handle some strong Australian vernacular? I think you probably can.
I grew up on it.
Have a look at this. This is Hannah Gadsby, the comedian and, of course, sometime Australian ABC presenter as well, saying, after years of enduring Leunig staring at her, the duck finally spoke. I can't give you the benefit of whimsy today, Eura. And we've deleted the D word that begins there. Suggesting there that perhaps the duck was being misused maybe in a lot of your cartoons, if this was going to be your anti-vaccination stance.
So we don't tolerate the outsider voice that says the improbable thing. That's what my job is, Virginia. It's not to march entirely with science, it's to be the improbable and cause people like yourself and you, Michael, or anyone else to get head up and say, stop this. What is this fierce kind of anti-vaccination. Why so emotional about it? I'm emotional.
It's called public health, Michael.
No, well, it's good. It's good
called public health.
Oh, if we cared about public health, we wouldn't design cities like this. We wouldn't have appalling television, dreadful media. You know, the public health is in disarray at so many levels, and all we're worrying about is this little needle. I mean, if we care about public health, let's be serious about public health. The full spectrum.
We're going to let the viewers have the argument at this, and it'll continue as when you leave. But it's good to have the argument with you on air this morning, Michael.
But I'm
Leunig.
not standing for against vaccination. It's this thing of the individual conscience. There's a matter of conscience. I was a conscientious objector in the Vietnam War, right? So I understand about it.
We'll leave it to a debate between individual conscience and proven science. Michael Leunig, nice to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thanks for joining us today.